Pursuant to the legislation, AUKUS legislation, the President has until mid-April to decide whether the British and Australians have a quote-unquote comparable defense export control system with the U.S. and whether to exempt them from the International Traffic in Arms Regulations, otherwise known as ITAR. In essence, ITAR-free zones will allow us to develop and build the most cutting-edge military technologies like hypersonics together. In my view, these are our closest allies. They're members of the Five Eye. They bled with us on the battlefield over the last 100 years. And we shared our crown jewel, the nuclear propulsion technology, with the British for generations, and just authorized sharing our most advanced conventionally armed nuclear-powered submarines with the Australians. I believe it would be a diplomatic concern if the President does not exempt them from ITAR. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but since I have you here, and we have to make this decision, the President does, by April, my question is very simple. Does the administration believe that we should give this exemption to our two closest allies in April?
Yes, thank you for that question, and I totally agree with you. The U.S., the U.K. and Australia are our closest allies. We have a long history of working with them. And I can tell you that we are working around the clock to do what we need to make sure that we can get the ITAR exemption that all of you have voted with the EDA to help put forward. I can tell you that I've made several trips myself to the UK, going to Australia. My experts are working with our colleagues on a regular basis. We're having trilateral meetings, and it's going very well. The UK has passed the National Security Act. Australia has 2 bills which are going forward. So they are doing what they need, and we are doing what we need to put in place all the steps that have to happen so that we can certify. I feel very confident that we will certify. We're just actually in the process of making this happen, something that normally takes about 6 to 12 months. We are doing it in a much, much faster period.
You know, I appreciate that, your candor and honesty. And I really hope the administration does certify. If you need anything from us in the committee, please let us know. You know, we're working as Americans here with our allies against a very strong threat coming from China. Shifting to that, Taiwan arms sales. I know you're aware of this issue. When I saw President Tsai, she asked me where are my weapons. There are 19 weapon systems, $22 billion that have not reached the island. What I'm concerned about is if we can't get these weapons into Taiwan, what deterrence does the island have as the clock is ticking? And I think after the presidential elections in Taiwan, it's even more foreseeable. They know they can't take it by election, so maybe they're going to look at other ways to unify, in their words, Taiwan through a blockade of some sort. Do you know why this has taken so long, and when do you anticipate that the weapons that Mr. Meeks and I signed off on, and the chair and ranking member in the Senate, do you anticipate when they will be delivered?
First of all, I totally agree with you in terms of the important work that we're doing with Taiwan. I want to thank everyone for all the efforts that's gone in for work we've been doing to allow us to do things like have foreign military financing with them that we hadn't had before, to have our international military education training with them now. We've been able to use the Taiwan Enhanced Resilience Act to authorize up to $10 billion in security assistance. So first of all, I just want to say that we recognize very, very much how important this is. Also want to note that many times the problems or the delays, we are able within the State Department to go through these processes in 48 hours or so. But the problem really is getting it through the industrial base, getting the equipment on time. A lot of times in these cases, after the signature is done, that's when things start to happen in terms of getting the equipment. So the delay is not related to anything in terms of our commitment. Our commitment is certainly there. It's really the industrial base. And this is something that we know is in the supplemental, and something that we know is an issue, and we're working very closely with our partners in industry to try to move that faster. I don't have a specific time frame
Right.
that I can give you right now, but I just want you to understand a little bit of the background.
Well, thank you. And as we examine the supplemental, we just received it with respect to Taiwan and countering China. We obviously, any input, it's not a final draft by any stretch, and any input you may have to help this situation would be very much appreciated. In fact, I know there's $3.3 billion for AUKUS itself,
Right.
which I think is a very strong argument to defending the Pacific.